There are two conversations happening right now about Tron Ares. The first is happening in the press among critics who are calling it a commercial disappointment, a hollow spectacle with a one-dimensional story. They're looking at spreadsheets and preconceived notions of what a movie should be. They hate it because it comes from Disney and don't actually have valid reasons other than the fact that for some crazy reason they don't like, I don't know, Jared Leto. But then there's the other conversation. The one happening in the theater lobbies, in the Reddit threads, and among the fans who just walked out of the biggest screen they could find, buzzing. They're talking about the experience, the sound, the visuals, the feeling. So the big question is, are the critics and the fans, are they watching the same movie? Or have some people simply forgotten what Tron is and what it has always been about? I'm here to tell you to ignore the noise. If you're on the fence, if you're hearing the negativity, I need you to listen. You're about to make the same mistake people made in 2010. What's up, my know-it-alls? That's right. We're talking about the huge disconnect between the critics and the audiences for Tron Ares. I've seen the reviews, I've seen the box office reports, and frankly, I don't care. I've also seen the movie, and I'm here to plant my flag firmly on the side of the fans. I was absolutely blown away by this film, and I'm already hearing the whispers that I heard 15 years ago after Legacy left theaters. Man, I really wish I'd seen that in IMAX. Don't do it again. Don't be that person. This isn't just a movie you watch. It's an audio-visual event. It's something that you have to experience. So today, we're going to break down the stunning visuals, that God-tier 9-inch nail soundtrack that's been on a loop in my car for a week, and ultimately figure out why the critics are fundamentally misunderstanding Jared Leto's incredible performance as Ares. First things first, this isn't the Tron you remember. The script has been flipped. Instead of a human getting sucked into the grid, the program comes to us. The digital world is invading the physical. Our main character is Ares. He's an advanced AI program created by a smarmy tech bro villain, Julian Dillinger, to be the ultimate super soldier. Ares is a weapon 100% disposable. And honestly, Dillinger makes that pretty clear. It's interesting, the Dillinger character, of course, obviously being he's the grandson of the original Edward Dillinger. Edward Dillinger was the original villain in the first movie, and then Ed Dillinger, played by, what's his name? Oppenheimer guy, sorry. I'm sorry, Cillian Murphy. Did I just call you Oppenheimer guy? I apologize. A much younger Cillian Murphy with this weird furry mutton chop thing going on. And then you move forward now to his, I guess, grandnephew? I don't know, whatever, grandkid? Whatever. His sister was the former CEO. They've made the kid now the new Julian, the new CEO, and he's the one who's working ultimately on this whole thing. Opposing them is Eve Kim, who we find out in the very, very beginning of the first few minutes of the movie is the new CEO of Encom, who ultimately believes this same technology can be used for benevolent reasons, for good things, to create crops, to build houses and cure diseases. There's a battle for the soul that is happening for the future, and it is right here. The core of the story is Ares' journey, created for ultimately destruction. He begins to really experience the real world and ultimately develop what seems to be a conscience. Interestingly enough, he's also named the MCP, which for those of you who follow Tron lore, the MCP was the original quote-unquote villain. And then later on, you kind of didn't really have an MCP in the second movie, though I would argue that not Ares, but Clue possibly served that same ultimate purpose as a gatekeeper of sorts. But this one is very interesting because Ares is the MCP. So not only so they already established at the gate he has god tier power when it comes to the setup of the grid, at least in relation to where he was, who he's the MCP for, that kind of thing. It's Frankenstein for the digital age. And I'm sorry, it's fantastic. All right, so let's start with the non-negotiable. This film is definitely a technical masterpiece. Okay, the sight of light skimmers racing through actual city streets, leaving trails of solid light in their wake, it's genuinely speaking breathtaking. You know, seeing a recognizer descend upon Encom Tower, I had pure unfiltered awe. At least in that moment, I was blown away by it. And I'm pretty sure you will be too. And then the score. My God, the score. Trent Reznor and Atticus didn't just write music, They created the movie Soul. You know, it is a brutal, industrial, beautiful, thrumming nervous system that really elevates every single frame. This isn't background music. I would argue, I mean, realistically, I would say the music is a co-star for sure. Followed much really closely by the sound and the visuals. All right, these things alone are worth the price of a premium ticket. End of line. Okay, let's tackle the biggest criticism head on. Jared Leto's performance. I've read reviews calling him robotic, stiff, one-dimensional, and to that, I have to ask, what movie did you think you were watching? He's playing a computer program experiencing reality for the first time. His journey from a cold, obedient weapon to being to being someone or a creature, a being, if you will, to being a being of empathy is the entire point. Literally, that's the journey we're on. Everyone's like, it's terrible. He doesn't do whatever. He doesn't do whatever. What are you watching? All right, it's not a bug. It's the entire feature. His performance is really one of incredible subtlety. At least that's the way I take it. I mean, really, I really do. I feel like he's playing that role. It's everything you see, and I'm not just saying the way he's playing it. It's in the slight tilt of his head as he feels the rain, which is a thing. I'm not being poetic. That's a thing that happens. There's confusion in his eyes as he sort of processes human emotion. I would say there's this really quiet internal performance that builds and builds, you know, to want him to be, I don't know, charismatic or quippy, sort of that version of a hero from frame one, I think it fundamentally misunderstands the story being told. Another complaint that I have, honestly, another complaint I've seen that I'm gonna field is that the story is somehow derivative of Frankenstein. Oh yeah, that's something the highfalutins over at like the LA Times and Variety and those kind of people, that's the kind of nonsense they're saying. And you know what? I think it is, but it's a brilliant application of ultimately that timeless theme, especially when it comes to all of our modern anxieties about AI. All right, this isn't lazy rehashing. I would say it's thoughtful evolution. Instead of giving us another story of a human trapped in a game, which they could have easily done, they inverted the entire premise. This is what sequels should do. Honor the past with, nods, cameos when you can and whatnot, whatever else. And yes, seeing Flynn's arcade again was perfect. Oh yeah, no, seriously, the second that you see Ares start to reform and the only laser connected to the system or the network was Flynn's, and you see him show up, I was like, oh my goodness! And what's hilarious, he shows up in this like ultimate pose that looks very reminiscent of Flynn's from Legacy. It's great. It's great. By that I mean Flynn Jr. This is not a sequel to Tron Legacy. I think it's a worthy sequel to the 1982 original because really it shares its ambition, not just its plot. So ultimately the style over substance criticism falls flat for me. Tron has always been about big philosophical ideas wrapped in stunning, cutting-edge aesthetic. It's mythology for the digital age. The substance is the style. So to ask for like, give me intimate dialogue and driven drama, show me the pathos, I think that's like criticizing a rave for being too loud. You're at the wrong party. So there you go. Now you know. And if no one's have the battle, you're halfway to being a know-it-all yourself. My final verdict is that Tron Ares really is, I would argue that it's a visceral experience. It's intelligent and absolutely quintessential theatrical experience you have to see in, like I said, the biggest screen you can. It's a movie that trusts you to get lost in its world and ultimately rewards you with, I say it rewards you with a sensory experience unlike anything else in theaters right now. Does it have shortcomings? Sure. The script can be a little on the nose at times, and I would argue that there are some side characters that could definitely be fleshed out more. I would have loved to have known more about Kim's, I don't know if that's her cousin or her brother. I don't think it's her brother because her sister's the other was her partner CEO who passed away off screen. So I think it's more of her cousin, but that relationship is unclear. And he's a really cool character, and I would have loved to have seen more of him, But ultimately, those are minor glitches in an otherwise pretty spectacular program. This is a worthy pillar in the franchise, one that perfectly sets the stage for a fourth installment that, if you realistically think about it, could bridge all the stories together. It's a movie that deserves to be seen, supported, and celebrated for its bold ambition, for its breathtaking audiovisual mastery, its honestly very misunderstood but brilliant central performance, and its courage to evolve the franchise instead of just repeating it Where does Tron Ares land on the Know-It-All Index? I'm giving Tron Ares a rock solid 8.5 out of 10.
I like the 80s.
The critics are seeing the code. The fans are seeing the world. Go see the world. That's what you need to do. Make up your own mind. Don't get scared away by all these idiots out here who, because they have no imagination or desire to see something that takes an original property into an original direction, don't fall for that trap. It's the same one a lot of people fell into in Tron Legacy. And while that deepfake style stuff or the de-aging from that movie may not hold up today, and it really doesn't, the rest of the movie is brilliant. And a lot of people wish they hadn't missed out on it. Don't miss out on it yourself. Go see the thing. All right? Comment below. Are you here for the hype? Are you gonna go see it? Are you not? Are you just like, nah, forget it, you're wrong, it's over, whatever else? Fine, either way, I'm gonna revisit this when it falls on VOD because I definitely want to see what people's thoughts and opinions are then. So hopefully you get a chance to see it before that, but until then, never forget, everyone loves a know-it-all. Yeah, okay, yeah, stop watching this and go. Go buy a ticket for the biggest, loudest theater you can find. You can thank me later.